Welcome to Cars in Korea. I introduce newly released Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. The car I am test driving today is 2026 Hyundai Nexo. So if you haven't heard about this car or have never seen this car in person, well, you're not alone because there's only a handful of countries that these cars are being sold, let alone the hydrogen FCEV fuel cell EV cars. It's my first experience, first time ever driving a hydrogen car as well, FCEV. That is a term I'll be using a lot throughout today's video, which stands for fuel cell electric vehicle. Essentially, this car is an EV, electric vehicle. That's the reason why this car has the blue license plates on the front, which is only given out to the cars that are 100% fully electric here in Korea. Going over these terms, the EVs that we know of is actually categorized to be BEV, battery electric vehicle. So you see where I'm going with this? Depending on the source that the EVs drain the energy from, that's what separates and categorizes these EVs. Once again, BEV getting the energy from the battery, while FCEV, fuel cell EV, gets the energy from the fuel cell, i.e. hydrogen in this case. So the car does get charged up with hydrogen H2, which stores up to 7 kilograms. And yes, you heard me right, it weighs 7 kilos when you actually fully load this Nexo up. So that being said, the average fuel consumption reading is a bit awkward from the ones that we are used to seeing, such as the number I am seeing right now is 24.3 kilometers per kilogram. So that number is not the best reading we could get, of course, because I already see 26.7 and this number would easily go up. Otherwise, we will not see that reading driving distance available of 496 kilometers on the right. The car is currently charged at 88%, and the range I have is 496 kilometers with the AC on and 562 kilometers with the AC off. As far as the infotainment system is concerned, the UI is pretty much similar to other EVs that we've been seeing from Hyundai Motor Group thus far. So just like that, all the alerts and systems, it's all same, and minimum of 370 and maximum of 570 on top as well. But neither of those numbers are near impossible to get if you properly drive the vehicle. Since it's the first impression, I want to show you this right now. So as the car was slowing down, I lift my foot off the accelerator and the car just stopped on its own because I am using the Smart Region 3.0, which is the car recognizing the traffic and the vehicle in front of you, so you can drive the vehicle with one foot only. So those of you guys who have iPedal already with your cars, such as EGMP, Electric Global Modular Platform made EVs, Ioniq 5, EV6, EV9, Ioniq 9, you name it. The biggest difference is that you actually have to lift your foot off the accelerator after you have measured and calculated when the vehicle would come to a complete stop with the different levels of the region brake that you have set the car to be. Simply put, there is a set amount of regen force that will be applied to the car when you have the iPedal, meaning you have to do all the calculations inside your head and control the vehicle and decide when to lift your foot off the accelerator so that the car will actually stop instead of hitting the vehicle in front of you. But watch what I'm doing right now. I'll be doing this a lot throughout the video. So the biggest difference with the iPedal and the Smart Region 3.0 is that it does recognize the traffic in front of me and will put the car to a complete stop. Doesn't matter the condition and speed the car currently has. So no more calculations inside your head, simply put. So it works on city roads as we're seeing right now, and it also works on fast driving highway as well. But I would usually use HDA2, which this car comes with, the latest ADAS out there with the HMG Hyundai Motor Group. I can also use the HDA2 no problem in cities like I am doing right now, but it is just so much more easier and comfortable, much more pleasant to drive when you have the Smart Vision 3.0 instead. It's already going up to 54.5. Based on my experience test driving multiple Hyundai Motor Group cars, the number between the last two sectors in the middle, so that will be about 125 for this Nexo. That is pretty much the maximum number and reading you can get out of that vehicle. So let's check and see and find out if that is going to be the case with Nexo. If you see anything below that, it means that the car should and would do much better than that, and you are doing something wrong, if you will, with the car. You're not most efficient driver, let me put it that way. The car I am test driving is fully loaded model. It has all the options available there is to this Nexo. Comes with DSM, digital side mirror, located on the far corners left and right, just like so. And you might think that it feels a bit awkward at first, but trust me, you get used to it. It is different from the conventional side mirrors that we've been getting and are used to seeing. However, there are actually a lot of traits of having this over the regular mirrors, if you will. Number one, something that I always say and go over, that is, this works amazing under poor weather conditions such as pouring rain and snowy days, because you don't have to worry a thing about it. It will be visible 24/7. And of course, the cameras are water repellent. I actually dumped whole water to the camera with a hose and it didn't have an issue at all. In the middle is the DCM, digital center mirror. All the names are pretty much self-explanatory, aren't they? It is the rear view mirror gone digital, but if you don't like this, we can always revert, pull that down and go back to this. And the reason why there is such tech is not for you to brag about it. I mean, you could, right? It's fancy tech, but it's actually when you have people sitting in the second row seat, as well as when you have the trunk compartment full of luggage, your view does get physically obstructed, right? But that is no more with this DCM. So therefore, I would strongly recommend that you include it, and you can dim it, you can make it brighter, of course, and you can also tilt it up and down just like so, depending on your personal preference. And it's not just a rear view mirror gone digital, it actually physically gives you wider view than you would otherwise. So it has the wide lens. I can actually see much further away, and this shines the most when you drive on the freeway. And I'll show you right now. See for yourself what the differences are. I can see the whole lane behind me, whereas that's never ever the case with this traditional rear view mirror. I do have the whole interior review of the car on the channel, so please feel free to check it out. I don't want to repeat myself and do the same whole car review on the car again. I met this car back in Seoul Mobility Show. I gave you a walk around tour, review inside out with different colors, so please refer to that video. So number one, something that I felt immediately is that the buttons here actually are a bit different. I think it's the first time I see such. It's not something super big, but the buttons here are all connected. It's one whole solid buttons, as you can see. So when you press on these, right, you feel like you're pressing on the whole chunk rather than pressing on an individual button. I am perfectly okay with it, but it's something new for sure. Something that I haven't seen on other cars thus far, I think. I have seen cars that has somewhat haptic feedback, like those touch sensitive ones. It's not something like this. There is also interactive pixelated lights in the middle, interacting with the driver, just like so. When you go into different drive modes, you can see it's lighting up with patterns and different colors. Other than that, the whole steering wheel, the column type shifter, things that we have been seeing on all of the latest Hyundai cars. The paddle shifters, however, though, it feels quite different. Listen to it. I actually use the paddle shifters a lot on EVs because I want to have different levels of regen brakes, and also whenever I engage or try to find out if there is the Smart Regen 3.0, I actually have to play around with the paddle shifter to see if it would go into that auto mode that I told you about, right? So it feels different, not specifying that this is superior over the other, but it is something that is just different from the typical Hyundai cars that we've been getting thus far. So it feels different, so you can probably hear, right? So it is a plastic pedal shifter, but it feels different at my fingertip when you press in each pedal shifters. And HDA2 just working beautifully, flawlessly. I have no complaint whatsoever. And as far as the ride is concerned, I don't really feel much of a difference. I mean, I do feel that this is a different car. It does not feel like the Ioniq 5, no. Well, that has to do with the sense of space I get inside the vehicle, which definitely plays a big key role when it comes to how you perceive a car inside out, right? And also the design. But as far as the, oh, I knew it. Wow, next one actually comes with ANCR, Active Noise Cancellation System right there. So you'll see the button thing right there, acoustic control. Yep, there are more on the second row seat just like that. So those button-like things, they are actually shooting out the counter frequency, so it cancels out the noise coming into the cabin. The noise is there, it's just that we can't hear it because it's being canceled out. And just like how all noise canceling earbuds and headphones work. No wonder that was the reason, because the bridge we're under right now, it's loud and it's noisy. Watch. Or I should say, listen. Speaking of which, it is a dual acoustic laminated glasses on the first row. I doubt that it will be for the second row. I will soon find out. And that is the second row seat that we have, and the leg room. I will show you more about this details, and I will also sit on the second row seat and share my personal thoughts and experience about it. Overall, it does really feel very similar to Tucson, yet a little different. Well, of course, it's a different car, but above everything, I think it certainly has to do with that interior design over there, or I should say the overall interior. So if you take a look at the dashboard design, it is symmetrical. It is carved out that way, but the curved display facing towards me, as well as on the interior being straight, it kind of gives and make it look like that it's not symmetrical or asymmetric. However, that's not really the case. Instead, Hyundai utilized the space underneath right here as a shelf, something that I've been loving ever since Hyundai gave us the first one with the Casper, smallest, tiniest car from Hyundai, which is the donor car or ICE version of the Inster that European and other overseas markets have been getting. So that you could definitely store your items here, but it's not recommended that you leave your stuff here, because otherwise whenever you brake and accelerate, things are going to fly around. And that is actually Casper I've been telling you about. It is very practical and useful, especially when the passengers have items full when getting inside the car. You could simply drop items there, let yourself in and get buckled up and take care of the items later on. And this is based on the personal experience, of course. So most of the other things I will find out and tell you more on my exhaustive review and test drive, because I am also long-term, long-distance driving this Hyundai Nexo. The only thing that worries me at this point is the car being the hydrogen, therefore the charging station is still scarce here in Korea. I mean, there's a lot compared to other countries around the world. I think we have somewhere between 30 to 50 charging stations here in Korea. Whenever you go on a long distance drives and travel, you actually have to look for the charging station. Due to the nature being of the charging stations, you cannot charge the vehicle on your own. The station requires to have an operator on the spot, and it can only be operated and charged with a professional. So that is the biggest issue. Whenever I travel long distance, you have to look for a charging station. And the kicker is that it is not open 24/7. They usually close around 8 to 10 p.m. So past that point, you need to charge. You can't. I mean, your car's gonna stop in the midway. That's the only thing that is worrying me, and therefore that is the reason why my destination is actually the charging station, not my home. Because I want to get this car charged up and then head back down, put this car on a long distance drives. And it's my first experience, so I will share you and show you the raw experience of what it's like to charge a hydrogen fuel cell EV and what it really is all about. Because I will be driving and putting this car nearly 1,000 kilometers after all this test drive is complete. And I am at the charging station, and I'll show you what's up. So that is the charger, out of stock. The time is not even near the closing time. I mean, lucky I don't really have to fuel up because I have over 80% and I still can manage to arrive at my final destination. So much for the H2 gas right there. And hopefully I can charge at one of the rest area where there is gonna be. I want to dispose the water. Starting water release. Okay, so it's done like that. And that one at the end is from the AC. That is releasing the water. Open that up, and it says it's powering down. Not something that I have seen on other cars. So that is the cap. That's what it looks like. And that's what the V2L looks like on this side. Just like so. Fingers crossed I'll be able to charge the car again at one of the rests I'm going to stop by.